How y'all doing? It's your boy, Let 'em Know Zoe, back with another video. Let's go. Today we will be talking about why dating is not the same as it used to be. The first reason I think dating is not anything as what it used to be, like say maybe 20, 30 years ago, I would definitely have to say social media. Social media has definitely changed the dating game big time. We're talking things like Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, definitely. Those three in general, like just those three alone, are prime examples of how all the validation, all the options, all the guys, all the DMs, it just completely changed the game because these are platforms that have given people access to options that they never would have had about 20 or 30 years ago. And when you have access to hundreds and thousands of people and you never had that before, and you have people constantly blowing you up, liking your photos, liking your statuses, whatever, and trying to talk to you and ask you out and say, oh, you're so pretty, can we go do this, can we go do that? Your ego, at least as a girl, your ego just goes like this, just swells, it balloons, it goes crazy for all the validation, because this is something that's still so new to us. And as human beings, we're really not ready for this kind of access to this many people. Another reason why I believe that dating is not anything like it used to be is because of something called feminism. Now, I know this one is probably going to get me a little bit of hate, but I think feminism has its pros and it has its cons. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely an advocate for women's rights, okay? But if I'm being quite honest, feminism has had some harmful effects towards women as well as beneficial ones. I would have to say one of those harmful effects is the notion that a woman can do and should do anything a man does. And when it comes to sex, that mindset can become particularly dangerous. In my opinion, women are just not meant to be sleeping with, every guy they see. And that's not to say that they all do, of course we have a great many women who aren't like that, but it would be remiss of me to say that we don't have women who are also, on these apps, just like I said before, with all these options, all this validation, constantly swipe left, swipe right, whatever it may be, like all these guys in their DMs. And for women, it's kind of like it's like a child in a candy store. You can just take your pick and have whatever you want. And in this kind of social climate that we have today, it's just different than the way it used to be. Women are not shamed anymore for having an extensive amount of sexual partners, and it's just times have changed. So another reason why, like I just mentioned, I guess kind of to segue into it, would be just the overall social climate of today. We are currently living in the year 2022. A lot of things have changed since the beginning of the feminism movement. Now, don't quote me, I'm not exactly sure, but I do believe that the feminism movement started at some point in the 1950s, 60s. Again, don't quote me, I'm not sure, it's just an approximate guess, but I do believe it started somewhere around there. Around that time, the 1950s and 60s, America was just not the same as it is today. I believe that women were held to a kind of different standard than they are today. They were expected to marry young. They were expected to be housewives and be mothers to children and things like that. And now today, there are still women who do that, of course, but it seems that things have shifted more towards the direction of encouraging women to join the workforce and go to college. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like that's great. It's just that, I think that when women focus on their careers, it kind of takes away from them focusing on their romantic life. And, I guess I can't really, like, who am I to judge? To each their own. But it seems to be a very common trend that the more a woman focuses on her career and advances in her professional life, the more she neglects her romantic life, just like I said. And she may find that as she reaches a certain level of success, her options romantically tend to kind of thin out because due to a phenomenon known as hypergamy, women tend to want to go for men who are either on their level or somehow superior to them. So that's just one more reason why dating is not what it used to be, because, women and I guess men as well are just being taught different things today. Another reason is for, I would say, gender roles. That's another reason why dating is not what it used to be. It seems today there's a lot more like flexibility, if that makes sense. Traditionally men were expected to be providers and breadwinners and just to be in kind of masculine positions overall. And women were expected to be in feminine positions, like housewife, like tend to the kids, like cook, clean, all that type of stuff. And it's actually pretty funny if you tell a woman today that these are the things you want her to do. You want her to cook, clean, and take care of kids. It's almost like an insult to them, because it's like how dare you tell me what I should do? Like, I am woman, hear me roar. And it's like, okay, like, I got you. You can do what you want to do, but it's like, it's crazy because it seems that like women today have kind of almost forgotten like what it means to be feminine, almost. Like, honestly, like a woman chasing after a career and a job and a professional life, that's great. But honestly, it's a very masculine thing. And it is what it is. So yeah. And I have one more thing I would like to say regarding why I think dating is not the way it used to be. And that has got to be because of these high divorce rates today in America. In the year 2022, the year in which we are currently living, divorce rates in the United States have reached 50%. That means 1 in 2 marriages do not last. And I have to say, as a man, those odds do not sound very good at all. Because when 2 people get married, it's generally understood that they are kind of giving to each other. Marriage and relationships in general are a give and a take. It's like a kind of transactional relationship. And so when you have somebody who gets into a relationship and they're earning more than somebody else, and then they tie the knot with legal paperwork, and then later on down the line, somebody decides, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they decide to get a divorce. Now the person who was earning more, which in most cases tends to be the man, is kind of stripped of 50% of his assets, his money, and it's just not a good look for most men these days. It seems like a lot of these things are ending in very negative ways. And to all my brothers out there, all my men who are thinking about marriage, I'm not going to completely try to dissuade you from it, but I will definitely say choose with caution, because there's literally a 1 in 2 chance that the marriage will fail. So everybody out there, just be careful, that's all. It's your boy. Let them know Zoe. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.